Hi, my name is David Tear, and welcome back to Let's Make a Better World. Today I'm going to talk about the USA and how I think we're failing as a nation. We're not the same country we were when I was a kid. Unfortunately, I'm 61 years old. I was born in 1962. I think America was going pretty strong. Most people agree. For most of the mid 20th century, I'd say from like maybe around the 50s through around 1980, I think things really started getting bad with Reagan. I mean, we just been going downhill as a nation in so many ways. But anyway, I'll just give you some examples of that. So here's education. This is where we stand in where U.S. stands in education worldwide. Notice we're number 36 on this list. I think that's pretty appalling. I mean, there's only about 40 developed countries in the world, and we're near the bottom of the whole developed country in education. We used to be number one. I think when I was a kid, we were number one. I think we were even number one in the 70s, but we've fallen way, way behind in education. Now, I guess China, Shanghai, China, was ranked number one. You can see that the top ones here are all Asian. Top five are all in Asia, and Europe's pretty good too. I mean, Finland's number 12. I guess Europe's not as good as Asia. UK is kind of low for Europe, but below U.S., it's all poor countries basically, in the third world. So I just think that's pretty horrible. And they say education is the future. I mean, they say that a country can't stay strong unless it has good education, because then, people don't know how to do anything anymore. And I think we're seeing that now, unfortunately. And that's just one measure how we're going down. Another one is healthcare. I think everybody agrees now that healthcare is really bad in the USA. A lot of people can't afford it anymore. You have to have health insurance to get health care. A lot of Americans don't have health insurance. Obama tried to fix that. He made it mandatory for all Americans to get health insurance. I think that was sort of a band aid. I mean, if you look at the whole rest of the developed world, every other developed country in the world has universal health care. The USA is the only country that doesn't. And I just think that's really terrible. And it's been getting worse and worse. I mean, it's getting harder and harder for the average American to afford quality health care. Even if you have health insurance, it doesn't cover everything. And, there's families that are spending everything they have just to keep, people in their family they care about alive who have fatal diseases like cancer and stuff. I just think that's horrible. And you can kind of see that reflected in our life expectancy. Look at where we rank in life expectancy. Yeah, this isn't a ranking, but it shows what our life expectancy is. 76.1 years. It's actually gone down. I think it peaked around 20 years ago. It was close to 80. I think it was 79. It's always been higher for women than for men, but I think it was like 82. I remember this around 2000, maybe close to 2010. I think life expectancy in the USA for women was 82, for men was 74, 75. Maybe it wasn't quite 80, but it was close. So it's gone down a couple of years. Not only that, but look where we compare to other countries. I mean, we're even below China now. They don't list China on this list, but that really appalled me. I found out just a few months ago. USA has a lower life expectancy now than China. Um, and you can see Japan's on top. I mean, here's a whole list of countries with life expectancy over 80 years. Um, I think most of the developed world has a higher life expectancy than the USA. And I just think that's very sad. Americans are not living as long as they used to. And so that's life expectancy. And then another measure of how we're going down is wealth inequality. I mean, if you look at these graphs here, what this is basically showing is that the most sort of egalitarian era for wealth, distribution in the USA was the mid 20th century, from around 19. I guess it was pretty good in the 40s even, but from around 1940 to around 1980, 1990, it was pretty egalitarian. But yeah, I guess the red graph shows. Oh yeah, the blue one shows where the top 10% are. So I guess the top 10% in 1986 or 87. It looks like they owned 64% of all the wealth. That's still quite a bit, but that's the lowest it's been in the last 80 years or 90 years. Now it's going up, and I think everybody's seen the statistics. I mean, top 10%, where do they lie in? Now it's 73% of all the wealth in this country owned by the 10% of the richest part of the population. Pretty horrible. We're about where we were in the robber baron era. We're close to it. So we have a growing wealth disparity, and that's just one indication. This compares us to other countries, and as you can see, these are where I guess that last graph I showed you only went up to 2010. This is where it is now. Now the richest 10% have 79% of all the wealth in the USA. That's way ahead of just about every other country, every other developed country in the world. Japan looks like they're the most egalitarian with 41%. I guess Europe, you have pretty high division. And I don't know. I mean, it varies from country to country. I guess the poorer countries have a little better economic disparity. I mean, not as much. Italy, I think, is one of the poorer countries in Europe. Spain, too. Northern Europe tends to be a little richer than Southern Europe. So Northern Europe's sort of getting to be like us, but we're way ahead here. So that's just another measure of how things are bad here. And then productivity. This is probably another thing I think you guys are all familiar with. We used to be the biggest producer in the world. In 1958, we were number one in productivity. This is productivity per hours worked. This is like a per capita rate of productivity, not overall productivity, which I think is a better measure. So, yeah, we were number one in the 50s, and we've been out of that position for a long time now. This is 1989, and on this graph, I guess where are we here? Yeah, it looks like we were seventh. Yeah, so and then we're still. I mean, the good news, I guess, is that we're not falling down the ranks. I think we're actually even going up in productivity. Um, so productivity isn't our worst problem right now, but pretty much everything else that matters is. I mean, the only things we're number one in anymore are military spending and total GDP. I mean, our country is run by the rich now, which I think is really sad. I mean, we used to have a really strong middle class. Now the middle class is disappearing, and we've become like a third world country. So I just think that's very sad because I've lived in the USA my whole life, and I've always loved this country. I still love a lot of things about it, like our Constitution. Notice our Constitution's in this picture, and Trump already said that if he gets reelected, he's going to abolish the U.S. Constitution, which means he's going to be a dictator. And I just hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, I think our Constitution's just about the only thing holding us together as a democracy right now. So anyway, sorry about the bad news, but it is what it is, and I'd like to see the world be a better place, and one of the ways I'd like to see it be better is to make America better, not the way Trump, make America great. That was bullshit. But do the right things to make really America a better country, and I think that'll make the world a lot better as well. So thank you for watching. See you next.